So I assume you know about Chivalry, right? You know, the scream like a warlord and die a lot simulator? Well, just in case you don't, Chivalry Medieval Warfare is a first-person melee-focused game for PC. Chivalry was pretty unique with its fairly precise and solid combat, gore and screaming. Oh boy, there was a lot of screaming. Also, for a fun little fact, before writing this I didn't even know the console port of Chivalry. So I've learned something new today. But anyway, we're not here to discuss Chivalry. Instead, the reason I mentioned this is because Torn Banner, the geniuses behind Chivalry, actually provided me with a copy of their new upcoming game Mirage Arcane Warfare. So thanks for that one, lad. Now you're probably asking to yourself, what is Mirage? Well, a simple way to put it would be Chivalry with magic. And that's pretty much what I used to describe it to my friend, and he's loving the game so far. So yes, long story short, this is a new adaptation of the Warfare series Torn Banner's been working on, but it does feel very different and unique. And this is due to various things, first off being the art style and overall graphics for this game. Instead of going for the gritty, realistic setting like they did in Chivalry, Mirage has gone for a more fantasy and cel-shaded approach, which I actually prefer for this type of game, and I believe it worked in their favour. Everything has a nice cartoon look to it, and while we're still having a very detailed look on the maps, overall the game is pretty and I like it that way. Then again, I'm a sucker for cartoon and cel-shaded games, probably why I consider Borderlands 2 one of the best and most beautiful games I've ever played to this day. But seriously, I can't praise enough how good this game looks, but that's not the only thing we're here for. There are some other things I should really point out, like the gameplay mechanics. At first you can say this is just like Chivalry, with the same idea of using the scroll wheel on the mouse for variation style of attack. What makes it stand out, however, is each character has different traits and also magical powers, which sounds weird saying, but it makes the character feel completely unique when compared to Chivalry, where it all feels the same except from different weights and weapons. So it feels a bit more in depth compared to what we're used to. Now, I strongly have to put across this will be going by my first impressions of the game. I won't have detail for all the characters, but I know what my favourites are so far, and that's, I hope I'm getting this right, with the Tyrant? I really don't know how to pronounce this name, and I probably just butchered it. And the other character which I was going to talk about is the Entropist. I like the Torrent, as I'm going to call him that now, as he is basically the tank of this game, and has some bulky moves, my favourite probably being the Explosive Punch and the Whirlwind move. Funnily enough, you can also throw boulders at him, which at times can be quite amusing to see. Just imagine someone exploding or their body shattering from the impact of a boulder. It's pretty fantastic to see. Now, the reason why I love the Entropist, however, is completely different. Not just because he's more of a support of his healing ability, it's also because he has a fucking flying carpet, and when you witness a small fat man on a flying carpet slowly making his way to kill someone, it's probably the most amazing sight in this game you will ever see. Seriously, I have no idea how glad I was to catch that on footage. Now, while I've talked about characters which I really like in Mirage, I don't hate any of the characters yet, but one does tend to feel a tad bit broken depending on the circumstances, and that's Tinker. While she is weak in the sense of her health, she has two abilities that work way too good hand in hand. If you're new at the game or don't have an ability to dash away in the only snippet of a chance you'll ever get, this will kill you really easily. And just in case you want to piss anyone off, the abilities I'm talking about are Stasis and Obelisk. So yeah, if you get caught in this and then they plant an Obelisk down, you pretty much gotta try and spam your evade key for the moment you're set free from the Stasis, otherwise you will die over and over and over again, and it does tend to get very boring. Besides that, I haven't had a real feel into every single character, but so far, excluding that slight gripe with Tinker, all the characters are pretty damn fun, and thank fuck there's a limit on this game compared to Chivalry, because on most servers it would be fucking hell if everybody could play the same character over and over, and certain game modes would suffer from this. And speaking of game modes, the game modes in Mirage at this point are fairly basic in choice. You've got the standard team deathmatch, which is exactly what it says on the tin, so there's nothing really to discuss there. However, you do have the objective mode, which tends to fall under a 6v6 system. I haven't found a server yet which has any more, but with objective you get various objective types. You don't really get a choice on what objective mode there is on each map, however it seems to be the chosen for the map. The main modes I've encountered so far are control points, capture the flag, plant an objective in the other team's base, and then a payload mode, which can take forever depending on your teams because it's pushed the same thing back and forwards throughout the match, which I won't lie, can get a bit tedious and boring and repetitive at times, especially when your team has no fucking clue what they're doing. And you can't really blame them because they're new to the game, but it does piss me off a little bit. Now, like I said before, with this game being first impressions and also a game that's currently in beta, I can't really dig into it too much, as I will plan to come back to a Mirage once it's complete as a review, I feel like I kind of have to because Torn Banner gave me this opportunity to play it and I'm glad I did. But I have noticed a couple of bugs so far in the game, mainly to do with the main menu. While the main menu, similar to Chivalry, is very nice to look at and the music is just fucking brilliant, way too brilliant to describe however, I've encountered two big problems. The first being the newly implemented character customization. Now remember I did say newly implemented, but dear god does it take time to load anything. It took me roughly 5 minutes hopping in and out of the character menu for the cosmetics to even render in. Even though the characters with no equipment was very funny to look at, it was a bit irritating to actually have a look at what you can customise because it took way too long. Also, the second issue with regards to the menu is the matchmaking system. Again, this is beta, so I would assume this will be fixed later on down the line, but there's two problems with it. The first being the wait time. It can take a while to find anything, and when it does, it whacks me straight into an American server, which FYI, for a British, this game lags like a bitch. Or it will whack me into a server and glitch everything out, preventing the game to even start. Which happened twice, and that was fun because no one realised what was going on. Thankfully, however, there is the server browser to skip the matchmaking time. All in all, however, it's surprising how much fun I'm actually having with Mirage compared to Chivalry. I wasn't a dedicated player of Chivalry, as I won't lie, I was fucking awful at it. But with Mirage, I like the direction Torn Banner's taken it, and I will plan on returning to this on the channel after launch. I might whack a video together actually about me and Leo dicking about when we're playing it, but until then we will see. Now before I go, I'd like to say thanks again to Torn Banner for giving me the chance to actually chat about this. It's quite an honour to actually have a game sent to me to review, and secondly, it was just a lot of fun, and I probably would play this a lot more in my spare time just for a bit of fun. Now, just to wrap up the video, we've got one last thing to talk about, and again, like last time, this video was brought to you by IndieBox. IndieBox is a company dedicated to bringing back the physical cases to an indie PC game. You'll also receive downloadable codes for Steam too with some extra goodies on the side. This month you'll be wrapped into the villainous role of Nefarious, a game focused on stealing princesses and also mimicking bosses from old games. And for a game I've never heard of, it's surprisingly a good old bit of fun. So again, links are in the description to have a look into that. There's also my Twitter and everything else. But anywho, I've been Sir Crackenbold, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a cracking week. Goodbye.